On to you, Capricorns. You have the King of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Eight of Pentacles. So a lot of you Capricorns very much so are open for meeting people, new people. Let me go ahead and say this, right? You have the Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, King of Wands. Listen, go ahead and go after people that are interested in you. You know, part of the problem that a lot of people have with when it comes to dating and getting to know other people is because they're essentially trying to punch upwards. And what I mean by that is they're doing way too much, right? As long as the person is work withable, right? You can work with them. Go after those people. If those people are interested in you, that's the type of people that you're into. If they're interested, listen, if they're interested in you, if they are, if you could work with them, if they have something going on, go after them. That's the people that you can kick it with, because you have a lot of people out here, like I talked about, right? You have the Eight of Pentacles. You have a lot of people out here, like I talked about, wasting time, playing games, right? And one of the games that a lot of people tend to play is them trying to punch upward. This idea that I'm better than that, I'm worth more than that. And it's like, but are you though? Because when you look at it, right? And I'm not talking about y'all per se. I'm talking about anyone in general, right? Part of the reason why I myself started to date people that may have been, you know, plus size or bigger or whatever you want to call it, fat, whatever it is that you want to call it, right? Is because I'm dating to see like what am I looking for? You understand what I'm saying? And I'm dating them to see what is my range, like where do I actually fit in. I'm not just gonna go ahead and delude myself into thinking that, you know, I'm only gonna go after the prettiest, most beautiful people in the world. No, I'm actually trying to see like, okay, well maybe the hot pretty individuals wasn't really interested, but let's see if I could go ahead and date. I don't want to say down. I'm not going to say down, but like date not necessarily so pretty. Doesn't even have to be the prettiest person in the world as far as physically is concerned, right? But let's actually go ahead and see. And some of those things worked, some of those things didn't work, right? What worked is they was interested in me. What didn't work is they still had the same ideology of the dysfunction. So when you're out here dating, right, you have the Four Swords, the Judgment. When you're out here dating, this is a big thing for you Capricorns that gets not only in your way, but gets into a lot of people's way, Capricorn. That's a big problem. And the reason why is because, like it is, I said before, everybody is on some hypergamy stuff, right? Everybody is on some, I want the most handsome, the most beautiful, they gotta have the nicest, a big buxom, they gotta be this, they gotta have this, they gotta have nice, they just look this way, they gotta drive this car. And it's like, listen, if you have this ideology, you're going to be bumping your head up against these walls, figuratively speaking, because if a person has this, they're going to be flawed in some sort of way. If a person has this, maybe they can't get it up. Person has this, maybe they're not the nicest person. Maybe they're very cruel, you know, disrespectful. So all of these things that people have to take into consideration. I would rather date a person that is not necessarily so quote unquote physically attractive or pretty in the face, work withable, nice body or whatever the case may be. Doesn't have to, like I said, I've said this before publicly, doesn't have to be the prettiest person in the world. And if the person is interested in me and they understand reciprocation and they reciprocate, I could go ahead and make that work. I could show enough go ahead and make, of course with other, you know, prerequisites, got to be healthy and stuff like this, but I can most definitely make that work. And that's what will have you get more success is what I'm trying to say. Because the Seven of Cups now is that when you're dating multiple people, the more, see, this is what I'm saying, the more relationship experience that you date is the more about, is the less about hypergamy it is. Because at some point, and this is what I'm talking about, there more often than not, 9 chances out of 10, it's a trade-off. The Magician and the Seven of Wands. It's a trade-off. And the trade-off is because the Magician and the Seven of Wands represents, the Magician represents going after relationships and being in a relationship dynamic and having a chance to be in one that goes against what is the quote-unquote modern day, quote-unquote cultural idea of what is attractive and what is eligible, quote-unquote. And the Seven of Wands represents and kind of having to reject that idea a little bit. And the reason why is because it really does squander a lot of our relationships. When I was in high school, I used to be in love with somebody very attractive, a Bengali, and was Muslim. And I thought she was fine. I ain't even gonna lie. I thought she was fine. But you know what I'm saying? And like I had a huge crush on her, but like other people may not have necessarily, like she was just overlooked. And I was looking at them like, y'all are crazy. And it was like, what are you on? They was telling me that. And I was like, listen, you gotta stop letting these teen magazines and all this goofy social media play this 1990s sitcom played out hunka eligible bachelor nonsense. Really let it play out and let it go down by the wayside, because that ideology, they're making it's a satire. They're making fun of the fact that this is what it is that you're saying that you want, to the point where they could put it into a TV show and it sounds and it looks stupid. So now the thing about it is that the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Wands now, right, is about how it is that the Seven of Swords represents, because ultimately this is, so what am I saying with all this? I'm saying that you Capricorns have an opportunity to date other people, to date more people, but they may not necessarily be your normal type or what you think is attractive, but may end up actually being played out. Because everybody's looking for love, right? So many people are looking for love. But then when they get it, now it's like, oh, but I know I'm looking for love and the person is eligible, but they're not eligible enough. And it's like, what are you talking about? Right? The person doesn't have nice hips. The person, you know what I'm saying? The person doesn't drive this car. And it's like, listen, you better be very careful about what you consider eligibility, because you better keep yourself out of the memes, because you will end up a meme, right? So the Seven of Swords now is about you Capricorns having to understand, like, you're going to actually give people a chance. And the thing is that the Knight of Wands is about how you're going to legitimately give them a chance. It's not necessarily going to be a chance. You're not necessarily looking in the places that you would particularly think that you would be looking. But it is a diversity try, in a sense that when I say diversity, I'm not necessarily talking about skin tone or any of that. I'm talking about diversity in the sense of the definition. Something that you're not normally accustomed to, going for something different just to see what would happen. You see what I'm saying? So let's clarify the Knight of Wands. So, like for me, trust me, like I've dated pretty. I've dated not necessarily the most physically attractive. I've dated big. I've dated, slender. I've dated dark. I've dated tall, taller than me. So I know where I fit in. I know my lane. I know more of what it is that I'm looking out for. And nobody can go ahead and be like, oh, well, XYZ, cap. Because I've dated that stuff. So you can't tell me, no, I haven't. You don't know anything about me. You understand what I'm saying? If somebody were to tell me that. So to clarify the Knight of Wands, you have the Six of Swords. the Seven of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and then you have the Two of Pentacles. If those people themselves turn out to be jerks, guess what that does? That raises your own value. You know why? Because you just showed your own value right there if the person turns out to be a jerk. You know why? Meaning the people that are not necessarily so attractive, and you're dating to actually give people a chance. You know why? Because it says that you're not shallow. See, far too many people, especially with this social media thing, they want to win this beauty pageant stuff where they trying to act like they not shallow, but then when they get people that are truly attracted to them, they keep quiet, or they want to fit into the stereotype of, oh, I got this trophy next to me. But then it's like, but then they're complaining and belly aching about, how come I can't find anybody? How come I can't find anybody? Are you really asking that question legitimately, or are you really BSing, wasting time and trying to waste other people's time because you want some fake sympathy? And they'll be like, well, and then they'll play stupid, right? Not Taurus, right? Capricorn, they'll play stupid. And then what they'll do is they'll try to make it seem like, no, I legitimately want to know. It's because the people that you say that you trying to date are in your friend though. On both sides. The people that you claim that has those attributes are in the friend zone. See, you haven't gotten to the understanding. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying the person in question. It's like you haven't really gotten to the understanding that everybody is flawed in their own way. Even the most beautiful or the most handsome of people, they're flawed in their own way. Something that's going to essentially turn you off about them. You need to pick and choose what can turn you off, that you can live with and actually be content with is your situation. See, a lot of people are not. See, you got the Knight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. A lot of people are not content with any of it. It's like, oh, and that's part of where the dysfunction and the mental illness comes from. Because it's like, oh, the person is tall, dark, and handsome, but they have a beauty mole on their face. And it's like, the mole isn't even unattractive. The mole is still attractive. Why not give that person a chance? They're everything else of what it is that you want. I just can't stop looking at the mole. Okay, the person didn't wear the nice shoes. The person's hips didn't spread the way that I wanted it to. They were too skinny. And it's like, okay, maybe they had a fast metabolism. Maybe they don't spend a lot of their time eating per se out of a 24-hour clock cycle, but do they have a lot of the other attributes? Yeah, the person was physically attractive. They were perky everywhere. They had a great personality, and they were rich. Their hips was spreading just right. They had long hair, beautiful. So you just got upset because the person didn't eat enough? They didn't weigh enough? Yeah, yo, you know what I'm saying? And then they squander that. So if a person is being a jerk to you, you've raised your own value way more than if you would have kept dating in your normal type, because it shows that you're, and something about yourself, it shows that you're actually willing to search high and low and do a legitimate search. Because you have far too many people lying about, I've been searching around. No, you haven't. Because if you truly been searching around, check your friend zone. And no, don't date somebody that is truly ineligible, someone who can't take care of themselves. But if they can take care of themselves and they're willing to share their resources, not just pay everything, but share their resources, and they're decent, they have integrity, not just the way that they dress, but their personality. They have an internal compass. And they're willing to learn what is the problem. You understand? So you Capricorns really have a brand new sense of adventure and what's about to happen and how you're changing and growing and morphing right into somebody better. But that's pretty much it for now. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe.